Hello there.
Just in the middle of waiting, I was doing Christmas cards.
Yeah, one has to do those, yeah. Good to see you.
As bad as they are.
Oh, that's not bad. Mine all come from the works.
No, that's worse. That's worse.
It is a lot worse.
So, anyway,
I'm good, thank you. I've got a strange man next to me. I'll just move my webcam so you can see Chris. He'll give you a little wave. He's doing the little bits on the side, so I don't have to. Let me just move him around a little bit. That's fine. I've still got him in the picture, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I'm glad you're talking to us today. Blimey, you've had an eventful life, haven't you? A few life's challenges, which we all get, don't we, really?
But the trick is you are always going to encounter situations, some good, some bad.
Yeah.
And the trouble is you don't let them get you down.
No, you're
so
quite
you
right.
have to sort of continue.
No, it's. I mean, it's great to see that you've followed in the ministry. Did you always want to do that, or as a child?
No, no. When I was a child, what was it? But originally, my parents were Methodists.
All right, yeah.
So I remember going to church there. Then they became Mormons.
Right.
And then we went there, and you know, I had some really good fun. You know, in the Mormon church as a child growing up.
Yeah.
And I was. What do you call it? A teacher. Then you different levels you go through.
Right.
And I remember sitting there, and all these old people used to get up and say, "I prayed and God came to me, and He saw this." And I used to sit there and think, "Well, I pray every day, and I've not seen Him."
Yeah.
In the end, I gave up going to church because I never saw God.
Right.
I never, you know, and all these old people were saying, I thought, oh, well, they must understand it better. So then I left, and then for years I just sort of wandered around, read various books. And then opposite where I lived, there was a spiritual conference.
Right.
You know, tarot cards and all things
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. So I went in there, and I noticed that most of the people there were psychologists.
All right,
they
yes.
were charging people £20 to do to tell their fortunes, and most of them were going through hard times with this, that, and the other. And so I sat there and I looked around. I thought, do you know what? I could do this. So I then hired a hall a few months later and donated all the money to charity.
Right.
And I advertised, and people came and done tarot readings, and then we gave that to charity. And then I thought, oh, okay. Never really gave it much thought after that. And then one day I was bored and went into a church, and there was this old man. His name was Father Steptoe. He was head of our organisation, which I'm in now.
Uh-huh.
And I was looking around the building. It was cold, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? And I thought I couldn't sneak out because I was stuck there.
Yeah.
And then as I'm sitting there, I'm watching. I noticed a butterfly flying around the building.
Yeah.
And then, as the same time as he held up the chalice, a butterfly just sort of hovered above it, and literally as the sun shone through it, and it all just seemed to glow.
Wow.
And I just thought, okay, I like this. And I started attending a few more weeks,
Yeah.
and then so on. And before I knew it, I was bullied into it and became a priest.
Well, I can't see that you were bullied, because there must have been something that got you into that. It's a nice statement, but I think that you followed the pathway you needed to follow.
It just, I've always done charity things. I've always liked to help people.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to, I never thought in a million years I'd ever wear a collar. And it just seemed to have transpired. And yeah, it was fun. You know, and it is fun. It's sort of, the only problem is, which I've discovered, is that you end up being a priest for other people, not so much for yourself, because everybody has an interpretation
Yeah.
of how you must act and what you must do,
Yeah.
what you must say. And we've all got to drink lots of cups of tea and have biscuits and cake.
Yeah. I've got it.
But I drink coffee.
No, that's true. I've been slugging coffee earlier on, and I'm quite partial to the old glass of wine if it's weekends I've done all my work. So yeah.
Absolutely. Red or white, I don't mind, you know, or even sparkling, I'm okay for
That's
that.
cool for me too. We must share a bottle one time and go through some of the good times. Because you're quite right, people do pigeonhole you. You know, in our churches we actually don't wear collars. We actually have like a sash that I wear, even though I'm sort of ordained. But you're right, people do pigeonhole you. You know, I always think there's three people you don't want to be next to generally. One is a tax inspector, one is a policeman, and one is a vicar or a priest, however you do it. You know, people react differently, don't they?
Yeah, I've had run-ins with all of them.
Yes. Well, I'm fortunate. I've done two out of the three, and so I do see people do sort of expect you to behave in a certain way, as you said, and you can't do this. You know, how dare you have a drink? I said, well, I'm as human as everyone else. I don't do it in church, and I do it at my own social time. You know, so it is those perceptions, you know, that people have.
Yeah, it does make me smile. I mean, the other thing is, one thing you will always see me do, I mean, I've sat on trains before, and all of a sudden you get these born-again Christians, very loud people, clutching the Bible, and as they sort of go on a rampage up the trains.
Yep.
And as soon as I see them, they're shouting out, God loves you, and I just put my head down, do up my shirt, please don't see me, please don't see me. And I've often pretended I can't speak English or understand anything, and other people look at me going, please. I thought, yeah, but I'm a coward.
No, you're not a coward, because if you think about it iconically, it'll draw attention to you with the collar anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not really a coward, and really, I'm really enjoying just chatting to you, because you've got so much good energy, and you're not hiding away at all. You know, you're selling your faith, your belief on who you are.
What I'm trying to do is, like, years ago I was run over. And I had my skull cracked and everything else, and suffered greatly from memory loss, back broken.
Yeah.
You name it, I have it. So I'm on immense painkillers. So I do suffer from memory loss. And so most of my other friends, they can recite the Bible left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
And they go to me, "What's your favourite part?" And I said, "Well, the beginning, the middle." I said, "At the end." And I said, "It's perfect." And then they quote me bits, and I'll go, yep, I'll get back to Google it. Oh, yep, got that, got that. You know, but to me, that is not being a priest. Any person can, you'll verify this, any person can recite you a scripture.
Yeah.
The most interesting one of all to me is the story of the Samaritan.
Right.
People tend to not understand what it means today. Now, as a person and a human, I get collar. Every single morning I get up, I make hot soups. In the evenings I make sandwiches, pack lunches, and I go round. No matter where it is, sometimes I get covered in waves, because a lot of the homeless people have tents by the sea. Yeah. And when I park the car, get out, this wave comes over, covers me. I say thank you to God at those precise moments. Or words.
Yes, I know where you're going, I got it.
You know, and I do that. And I go past people that look at these people, or look at anything else, and they go into a church and they put a few pennies in the box. Yep. Or they come out and they do not see the people they walk past. No, true. And that I find interesting, because it just makes you feel, well, I've often found better atheists to act on the moral status of what we class to be a Christian. Yep. You know, and it just amazes me. I just love people. Yeah. I think they're great. But
you're so right in people's perceptions, you know. I mean, I think there's more spiritual people outside of a church than there can be inside.
Absolutely, because the trouble is, if you run a church, thankfully I don't run a building. If you do, then you're governed by those that be above us. You know, the whole aspect then is getting people into that building. Yes. Making those people in that building happy, and so on and so on. Yep. Whereas if you're like me, I seem to be found on like this new sort of sudden surge of online priests. All right. Which sounds a bit weird, but every day I get hundreds of messages. My phone goes continuously. People from all around the world asking me different questions. All right. This, or people I've never met before, they call me their priest, which is quite touching in a world which we live in. And then it was actually a newspaper reporter that reminded me. He goes, where was Jesus's church? You know, which building was it? And then I thought, okay, I understand. Yeah. You know, so when you look at it like that, and it's quite good. And I love it when we said earlier about people having this general idea of how we should act and what we should be. And then I get this man, well, it was a couple of weeks ago actually, and runs up to me. He goes, "I'm born again. Are you?" I said, "No, I got it right the first time, but thank you anyway."
No, I must remember that line. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and they look at me in complete disbelief, and I sort of saunter off because I don't like confrontations.
No.
And when I've had other people that attack me who's never met me, do not even have an idea of what faith group I am, which is the old Roman Catholic Church, and they go to me, aren't you worried that you condemn homosexuality? I said, I don't condemn anyone. And I said, I'll let you in a secret. I said, God created everybody. The day that God stops creating homosexuals, I'm going to take it that's when he doesn't want everyone to be different. And I said, until then, I will treat everybody with equality and fairness, you know, because I said, I know for a fact by shaking a gay person's hand, it's not contagious.
No. No, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. It is so strange. You're so right. People do pigeonhole people in the job specs they're doing, and you know, sometimes they get confused. So, at our local hospice, which is a place that I call on as and when is needed. And I remember sitting with a guy many years ago, and I sat on his bed, because you're allowed to sit on the bed when you're there with them, and I'm holding his hand. He's a gentleman that was trained as a spiritual healer, but it was his time to go, so I held his hand. And the nurse came in, she said, with a trolley, and she had drinks on it and stuff like that. And she looked at him and she said, "Would you like a drink?" He said, "No, I'm fine." And who's this? Is this your son? She said, I don't know if that was a compliment or not, but she said, "No, he's my minister." She said, "My goodness, you don't look like a minister. I just came in with a jacket on, an open neck shirt, and I just sat there." She said, and I won't say which faith it was, she said, "Look at that miserable one sat in the corner, not even talking to their patient, just sat there all in black, doing nothing." And I thought,
yeah.
that's how the impressions get wrong with people. And I'm so glad to see. I feel like I've known you for years already, because you share very similar things to I do. I just get fed up with that pigeonhole of putting people in different areas and expect us all to be the same.
Well, as I always tell people, you've got to have a sense of humour.
Yes.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
I mean, really and truthfully, we are all judged the same. I mean, by crimes committed by others.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how many, but it's the way things get covered and brushed under the carpet. Let's pretend this didn't happen routine.
Yep.
Whereas I believe you address it. If there's something wrong,
yes.
If you're failing at something, you go out your way to rectify it.
Yes.
And put your hands up and say, "Look, this was wrong. We have done this wrong. Let's fix it so we are then the best and it never happens again."
Absolutely.
You know.
And I think
this is the man that's dressed like a pint of Guinness.
Yeah. But I think that's true. That's good karma, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, for being, you know, truth can sometimes heal and sometimes be painful, but if you deliver it, you know where you stand, there's nothing hidden, you move forward. And it's a bit like, you might remember, but I'm probably older than you, I'm turning 60.
Probably, a
A lot, yeah, I think I am. I'm turning 60 next year, but I don't tell no one. But the long and the short of it, Mike Garwood used to say, as he came out as a comedian, he said, "And this is me." Because people couldn't work out who he was going to be. And this is what we need to be for ourselves. We don't need to be any different. And if you had a church, I'd be coming to listen to you, because I like the way that you say things. You're down to earth. You connect with people. You've not got a persona that says, "I'm the church minister and everybody should love me," or anything like that. You're an amazing person, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like with me. I mean, I've literally been to hell and back, and when I say it, I don't mean Clacton-on-Sea or Margate.
No.
No, I mean literally. I was in 2012. I reported a funeral director for removing gold from the deceased.
Yeah.
Leaving that this would, you know, they would look into it.
Yeah.
You know, they also done the same thing at the hospital, and the hospital changed the structure in dealing with this.
Yeah.
What I did not take into account, that this actual funeral director had police officers who were family members. And so what happened 3 days after I reported them, they accused me of that dreadful word, the word rape.
Yeah.
So my whole life suddenly got turned round, and I'm 1 minute I'm this sort of popular chap, and next minute I'm accused of the worst crime a man could be accused of.
Absolutely.
And I was terrified, absolutely terrified, because people love to believe the worst.
They do, and they don't believe the truth. They want the intruths that come out in the press sometimes.
Of course. And now I never, I mean, when I was there, they said, oh, you know, we know it's rubbish, and you just dismiss it a bit.
Yeah.
Then one day I'm standing in the queue at Morrison's, and there was this long queue of people. Then all of a sudden, I looked at this newspaper stand, and there's like 5 high, and there's my face, front
oh
page,
my goodness,
like that, and I just froze. And then the staff at Morrison's come to me and said, "You okay?" I just pointed. I went, "Look," and they said, "We don't believe it. We'll remove it." I said, "No, don't remove it." And I said, "Because I didn't do it. Let people see and read it, and then they can judge afterwards." And that was quite a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then as the case, because I was standing there and I go, and, you know, I said, well, the DNA will prove my innocence.
Yes.
You know, I went to court 3 times to demand DNA to be done, a medical test.
Yep.
Because surprisingly, my local police force decided they didn't want any done.
Right.
You know, they didn't want any statements from my witnesses, i.e. the people that lived in the flats below me that spoke to the lady.
Yep.
They didn't want them. They didn't want any CCTV, and they didn't want any phone calls, no computer. They wanted nothing. So I thought that was interesting. But, you know, so I thought, right, so I went out my way. Anyone that asked me, anyone that accused me, I said, look, there you go. And when I was given, when we actually had the DNA test done, and the medical reports, I mean, this lady that accused me was born without a womb.
Right.
And her defence to the police doctor was that she had a hysterectomy 6 months earlier.
All right.
Now, I'm not a qualified doctor, but I don't think you need a hysterectomy if you don't have a womb. You know, that little spark there would have done it. In the end, she even read that she was a fan of Martina Cole when she described the whole scene from the book Lady Killers.
Wow.
I had people kept on giving me copies of this book in the high street, you know, and everywhere else. And, you know, so well, we don't believe it. And old people come up to me, and which was nice. I mean, you soon learn how people see you.
Yes.
And bear in mind, you're accused of the worst crime possible.
Yeah.
You're a priest. Everyone knows who you are.
Yes.
You're walking around the town, hello. You know, and when it was over, I just, you know, when it was over, I went to court. I thought, brilliant. Now we can say anything.
Yep.
But because CPS stood up and said, we've got absolutely nothing, we can't find anything at all, and we can't challenge the medical or DNA. So it got thrown out, completely exonerated.
Yeah.
I can't name them. I can't name this family. And I find that absolutely annoying. I was so looking forward to my court case so I could name it. And now, even now, this is 5 years down the line, the same family live here, and they still tell the people, he raped my niece, he done this. The woman was 27 at the time.
Yeah.
She'd be 32 now.
Right.
You know, and but they don't say that. They reword it all.
Yeah.
You know, and then people take, I've heard that, it's true. And you're standing there thinking, really? Come on.
That's right. It's a bit like Chinese whispers, isn't it? You know, the tale starts off and it gets modified all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite big, but it has actually, the whole experience, I think, has made me a better person.
I think you've stood up for yourself, and you've stood up for your truth and your belief. Not that you've tied it to God, but your connection is there. And people see a great person that sits in front of me at the moment. And I just, you know, I know nothing about this, but really, it strengthens you.
It's on there.
Right.
You try sitting in a restaurant when it was going on, and people come up with newspapers, asking me to sign it for them.
Oh wow! Yeah, well, do you know, you were making me think, because it's such a, it's almost like a, not a book, but they could make a film out of it. You know, it could.
I would love to do a film or book about it, but each time I try to write it, I started originally, but then I ended up writing this bizarre comedy stuff.
All right.
Where it was, I just couldn't. I suppose really comedy in this sense was my way of dealing with it.
Yeah, but that's you though. But that's your strength to be comedic and to put yourself out there to get knocked down through the funny words or the actions is a strength.
Yeah, but my book was weird. I mean, I was writing it. It's probably I could turn it into about 4 books. That I was writing in a free conversational piece, like this is a fuse of a man, this is the fuse of a woman, and
Yeah.
this is reality.
Yeah.
You know, and it was taken like a caricature of the situation and just turning it and twisting it into something madness. Everyone who read it started reading it and they go, it's absolute madness, but they can't stop reading it, and they continued.
Maybe you should write. Maybe you should write on many different subjects. You know, I think you've got a talent that is there with you, and maybe it needs to be shared. You know, for the right reason. I'm sure you're guided. And what was really interesting was when you were talking about going back about the chalice and the butterfly above it. I thought that's almost quite spiritual, isn't it? In its essence, people.
Yeah.
I get lots of people talk to me about this side because that's the side that we connect with in many people's spiritual development. And have you had more than one of those, or is that something you're feeling?
I've had quite a few over my lifetime. I mean, years ago, I used to work on the beach in Margate.
Okay.
A friend of mine had a couple of rides, you know, and gyroscopes and a banana boat.
Yep.
So he ran the banana boat basically because he couldn't trust me with the speedboat.
All right.
You know, so I said, I'll suffer then. I'll stand on the beach all day, just doing the gyroscopes. And the tide was in, and there was a couple, a man in his 30s and a young girl who were drowning.
Right.
I can't swim, but like a fool, I thought I was good enough to swim to try and save him.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the little girl drowned. No,
Oh.
sorry, the little girl survived. I helped save her, but the man drowned. And as I tried to save him, I also started to drown.
Right.
And I was then dragged under the water.
Yeah.
And all I remember was just sort of sitting there going, ah, I felt absolutely fantastic. I felt like I was in a bubble.
Yeah.
I felt warm. It felt bright, even though it was obviously dark.
Yeah.
I felt fantastic. Never choked, nothing, until one of the lifeguards pulled me up, called me all the names under the sun for trying to swim and save someone. Everybody knew on the beach I couldn't swim that well.
Wow. But that was just instinct, wasn't it, from you to save someone?
Yeah, and a lot of the difference between a hero and a person who dies is someone. I don't think there is much difference.
I don't think there's any difference.
No, because you do what you do automatically. When
Yes.
people say to you, how would you act in this situation?
Hmm.
Truth is, you don't know. It's like a few weeks ago, some man gave me a load of abuse up the high street. One of the homeless people I was feeding all the time, until I found out he was no longer homeless, i.e. he had a flat, which
All
is
right.
a good clue where you're no longer homeless, and I refused to feed him.
Well, yeah.
And I said, look, you bank in that bank. And I said, I've seen you bank. You've got a few thousand in the account. I said, you've got keys in your pocket. You're not homeless. I said, I personally find you, I said, a con artist, which is exploiting the generosity of people.
Yeah.
And I said, and taking it away from people that generally need help. And I said, and he kicked off.
I bet.
And what surprised me was he was screaming at shout, calling me every name under the sun. And I thought, yeah, great.
Here we go. Yeah.
And so, yeah, if someone had said to me, how would you act? Years ago, I'd have probably slapped him or walked off.
Yeah.
No, but all of a sudden you realise you can't. You know, and you're standing there and you're called this, and he's making all these suggestions, and all these people surrounded. And one woman says, how could you upset that poor man? He's homeless. And I looked at her, I said, really? I said, he's just called me all of that, and you think I'm upsetting him?
Wow.
Yeah, and I walked away. I got home and actually just broke down in tears.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what people don't realise. They think that we are a target for people's frustration.
Yeah.
And, you know, and all of their hatred, all their anger, all their fears, all their worries obviously come to us. And at that time, we have to be some sort of platform for them to express themselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not pleasant, as
No.
you would have experienced yourself. And sometimes we go home and we sit there and we doubt ourselves and we think, can I do this? Can I continue? Can I do this? You know? And then out of the blue, you'll get someone, some man come up to me and shook my hand. Never seen him before in my life.
Right.
And apparently, about 6 years or so ago, I was sitting in a KFC and he was going through the bins outside. I just ordered my dinner and I took him in. I said, don't go through the bins. Gave him my food, gave him my coat and walked out. Right? And he remembered me.
Wow.
I wouldn't have known it. I completely forgot about the whole thing. You know, and it's like, in that you think, yeah, do you know what? If a million people think I'm an idiot, so be it. But if one person just makes you remember why you do things,
yes,
then it's worth it.
You're so right. Yeah, because the only one person you're answering to is God, or which I call head office, working for head office. And that's it. That's what they say. Who are you working for? I just said head office. You know?
Yeah. The trouble is you can't get away with anything because he watches you all the time.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I've got no problem with that. You know, when I get up there, probably like you, in 100 years from now, they'll say tradesman's entrance round the side. You know, it'll be like that.
Yeah, closed for bank holiday. You see a Jehovah's Witness coming out with a T-shirt that's saying, "I told you so."
Yes, that's right. Yes.
No, but I do enjoy it. I mean, and because I don't run a building, that enables me to become more me.
Yes.
No, and I love talking to people. I love trying to help people. I love trying to do something. It's like Christmas last year, or before Christmas last year, I was walking up and I saw so many homeless people. I thought, that's wrong. So I wanted them. I was fortunate. I had fantastic parents. My mother was amazing. I could still remember all my Christmas presents she had. I can remember the excitement of Christmas beforehand, the way she made it magical. She used to go outside with a rock or a large stone and throw it up on the roof just to get the sleigh marks on the roof.
Oh!
And then so when we go round when we were kids, she used to go, look, the sleigh's been there. And we used to think, now, wow, I believe until I was 47 that there was Father Christmas. No, sir. No, yeah. But I always believed it and the magic of it. And that, to me, is what's important. People say, well, as a Christian, aren't you ashamed of it? I said, no. I said, because you're a child for such a short time. You know, the innocence and the beauty which we as parents have to create for that child, that structure.
Yes.
I said, the magic, I said, is what they will pass on to their children. You know, so now it's like, I don't even say, look, it's like I've already put up my son's stocking on the wall there.
Yeah.
You know, so I've put that up, you know, and little bits and pieces like that. So and I'll see someone else do something. I think, I like that. And then I'll address that and I'll incorporate it into anyone who's got something which I think is a brilliant idea. I'll incorporate it into my family's routine and then get traditions so we can share and pass on.
Absolutely.
That's what I love. So I sold my car to fund a Christmas to feed 100 people.
Wow. And
I wanted to go out and buy them all presents and get people. Then other people, originally it was just going to be a hat and a scarf, you know, and a pair of gloves. I thought that would be enough.
Yeah.
And then it went online, and all of a sudden people from all over the place started donating stuff, giving me money for this and that, and I thought, oh my God, this has gone crazy. I then ended up making bags. I had to go and buy bags, waterproof bags to put everything in, look like a rucksack.
Yeah.
You know, you try and buy 100 of them. That's everything then was a few £100, like 500 quid for this and
wow.
£200 for that. And then it's 100 toothbrushes, 100 toothpaste, 100 aftershaves or perfumes, 100 hats, chocolate cherries, orange, and everything. And it went into thousands.
Wow.
And then the venue I was going to use, first of all, they said to me, first of all, they said they wanted to do a soup kitchen, you know, go and help at one.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I actually wanted to take people to dinner. I said, you've got a restaurant, why don't I hire your restaurant of you? And I said, that way you get to work as well. You know, I'll pay for all the food. They agreed. And then up the road, there was this Muslim restaurant that offered to do it for free.
Wow.
You know, free
How
to
wonderful is that?
well. Yeah. So, these people that got the restaurant said, we don't want you to come in now. I said, but you've just been on the radio. And I said, all the newspapers. And they go, yeah, but we're going to do it ourselves. We don't need you. And I said, okay, fine. So I'll come home and I said to my wife, and she goes, what's the matter? Told her what happened. She goes, no. She goes, you don't let that. I said, I can't argue. So she then went down to our local Indian restaurant, because my wife's the boss in this house.
Yeah. I know my place too, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. And then she told them the situation. And they'd already closed. It was going to be closed on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, and they was going to go up to London. And when they found out what actually happened, he had a meeting with his staff, and they all gave up their Christmas. So then I then had to hire his place, and it was £500 for 40 people and £1,000 for any above. So I said, okay, I'll pay it, you know. And then all these other people turned up, and then it sounded brilliant. I thought, well, great, we're going to repent. Then what happened was Thanet District Council decided to give £45,000 to local church groups to feed the homeless on Christmas Day, and then people went round with the churches to pick up the homeless to take them to these other venues. So we're standing there thinking, where is everybody?
Oh no!
We got a few in. I think we got about 20 odd people in, you know, in that. And then I gave them all presents, sleeping bags as well, because I also brought sleeping bags, tents, you know, jackets, coats and bits and pieces. And then we gave a load to Canterbury, which is the next town from where I live, to the shelter over there. And they went out, and that was fantastic, because there was far more people there that needed it.
Wow.
And then I stopped into the Muslim restaurant, and I said to them, I said, look, I said, I've removed all the alcohol, because I gave everyone a bottle of wine and a bottle of beer, which, you know, as well in this bag. Removed the alcohol, and I struck up a good rapport, and they said, we'll happily work with you anytime. You know, so it tended out, I've noticed in life, when you have an idea and a plan, it never goes along the way you want, but you end up making connections and friends with people which you never expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even if we have a plan, God has a better one for us, and you know, there's a spiritual network out there and puts the right people in the right places.
Yeah, totally. I've made some fantastic friends through this. I mean, and now what I do, I'm on LinkedIn, as your friend would tell you.
Yeah.
And I write the most stupidest jokes every day. You know, and I scour the line, and if I see a joke, and I think, oh, okay, if I edit it and change it, then that's my daily joke. Because obviously you can't have anything which is offensive.
No.
You know, so you change it, and then sometimes you spend ages going through a dictionary to find words to replace another word which people will understand.
Yes.
You know, you know, and I do that, and currently I'm doing my Christmas cracker joke. Okay. So I'll put a joke up on Christmas cracker. It gets thousands and hundreds of thousands of views.
Wow.
Yeah, it's surprising. You know, and I've written. I wrote an article once because someone once joked about the type of world we live in where you can't say anything. So I wrote. I sat there one night, and I was up the whole night, and I wrote. What did I write? Genesis, the new PC version. And it was where we can't call God God, and so we've called him numero uno instead. And I rewrote out, and I rewrote all of it, you know, the whole lot. But this is the original version.
Yep.
You know, and this is how it should be addressed now, and this is how it is, and so on and so on. You know, and some people got quite upset, and they said, how dare I try and change the Bible? There's nothing wrong with it originally. And other people...
They just don't get the message, do they? They just don't get that message.
No, and once I saw a short article, and it was about Noah and his ark. And I liked that. And I thought, oh, let's think about what would happen if Noah came today and was born in Canterbury. What would he do? And then I wrote this whole article about God asking Noah to do this ark.
Yeah.
But he came back months later, and there was still a pile of wood. And poor Noah had to explain about, because of the exchange of the pound against the euro, he couldn't import wood. He couldn't use his family because it's classed as slave labour.
Yeah.
Enabled every single law which you couldn't and couldn't do. You know. So I just like having fun with something, taking it and changing it.
Yeah, I think what you're doing, you're connecting to people's heart and also to their consciousness, which is not a label connected to religion, even though you have that banner with you, which I think is wonderful, because it brings God closer to people by being who they are and not what is represented by the church or the organisation.
Yeah, that's exactly what I believe. So I'll walk with you as I go to get onto the water.
No problem.
So I only come out of hospital a week ago. I had an operation, and since then, it's I can certainly feel my age. Being 21 again is quite hard.
Yeah, that's my IQ as well.
Hi, that's good. I think mine said 2.1 when we come under the IQ.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Oh, that's it. That's better.
Good.
Yeah, so I concentrate more on myself in that if people can change their perspective on how they view religion,
yeah,
and people that run it, perhaps then they might go to a church.
Yeah.
I don't mind which one they go to.
No, I don't either. I've got the same policy as well.
Go.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of people that would come that they can't tell their own priest or minister that they come to our church, but they like our church, so they go to theirs in the morning, say nothing, and in the evening they come to ours. And there's a group of probably 6 or 8 people that I know are from very strong Orthodox churches who love coming, but they can't tell their priest or minister because it wouldn't be seen the done thing really in some aspects. So it's an open door policy really.
I used to run the cemetery chapels in Margate Cemetery in Ramsgate, and I opened up the doors at the weekend, and I let anyone come in.
Yep.
You know, absolutely anyone. And in the end, I was getting loads of Muslims, loads of Jews, the priests, the Orthodox, every single person, the atheists, you name it, they all came in.
Well, that's good.
And in the end, two other churches complained to the council religious discrimination because I was getting anything between 300 to 500 people in over a weekend.
Goodness
in
me.
A building. Yeah, but I wasn't doing a service.
No, of course you weren't.
I was just talking. And so they complained and the council closed me down.
On what grounds?
Council building.
Wow.
It was disappointing. It was disappointing because people came in that had lost someone. They did not want to go to church. They just wanted to go. Go and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And so I used to listen, and I just used to find a way to connect with them, to help them through their pain. Sometimes I sat there and I just played music, you know, because I used to play opera, you know, in the background and everything else. I bought a kettle, I gave to people tea, coffees, and just generally talked. And people found that fascinating.
Yeah. Why not? That's caring and sharing.
Talk about vision. Yeah, no. I said, you can come in, just sit down. I put out all my statues and all my nice shiny brass stuff in as well.
Yeah.
You know, amazing what you can buy on eBay.
Yeah.
And so I put it out and just generally spoke to them. And then I said, well, I'm going to do prayers now. And people kept on adding their names. I said, if you want to add to my prayer list, feel free.
Yeah.
And that's how it went. And it was going really well, and all of a sudden they stopped, and I thought, oh, what a shame. You know? And,
well, I don't think that's the end of the day. I think that's going to happen again for you. You've got enough charisma and energy to make that happen if you went in a bus shelter, so, you know, you could go anywhere.
Not worse if I've had a drink.
Well, same for me. I like to connect with spirit, but, you know, we have to be careful where we draw the line on that, but yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it, and especially in today's world where we've got so many problems, it's nice to break down barriers.
I agree with you, because I always said religion is man-made, not God-made. And this is where all the problems are. It's a label, and it doesn't make that person any better than anyone else. But you're connecting.
Rousseau, who said that the first problems began when the first person put a fence up and said, "This is mine."
Yeah.
And you know, and the same thing it's like when you look at it in that way, the religion itself is wonderful. God is perfect. It's only men that stand there and say, "Well, I like this bit, but I don't like that."
That's right.
And this is the bit which God really meant, you know, where it says he'd take up thy serpent, and they actually do that literally. Pick up a snake and go around that. When it says, and David roared in his triumph, then we've got hell's angels. See, people take the words they choose. You know, rather than just look at the essence of it.
That's right. Well, it's parables, it's hidden meanings, and you've got to look for that spiritual meaning, not the factual, actual one that comes from that. And that's where people do go wrong. And I think any religion, in its base core, the first three statements they make are even, you know, are usually love thy neighbour, be kind, be gentle, and then man comes along, adds his next 25, says I accept these people, don't like these people, and all the rest, and that's where it all goes wrong.
Exactly. I mean, people always say, oh, I want this, I want that, and I've always kind of said, religion is a personal thing. It's a thing which you have at home with your family and your friends.
Yeah.
Now, wherever you are, you have to follow the laws of that land. You don't have to agree with everything, but you have to abide and cause as least offence as you can anywhere.
Yes.
And I said, you know, and it's that simple. And eventually, laws change and adapt, and then you have to move with it.
Yes, true.
It's like, the one thing about, people ask me as well, is about contraception. And they go, how do you feel about condoms? I say they make fantastic balloons, but it's always cheaper to go and buy a pack of balloons instead. And I said, and if you really want to believe in contraception, get married, have a child. Then believe me, my son's 2 years of age. Every time I think about sex, or my wife does, we look at each other, we look at him and we went, no.
Once is enough, okay.
We have not slept. We have not slept.
No, it can be a trial. It can be a trial. And I always think you need sunglasses for those nappies too, you know, they are really quite amazing times.
I don't. The worst thing is now, my son's newly discovered to chocolate.
All right.
And so all of a sudden you think you're clean, and all of a sudden you go out and you think, what's that?
Yeah.
And you've got chocolate all over you, or dribbled down you somewhere, and you think, oh, great. And now I've got a Leo, you know, and they go, oh yes, okay.
Yeah.
They feel sorry for me. Come sit down, Father.
Yeah, but it's in your karma to share your light wherever it happens to go. That's all it is. And it's part of life's experience. It makes you a more grounded and more open person.
Yeah. Yeah. And I must admit, the best thing that to understand life and appreciate God, I think, is to have a child.
Yes.
You know, and because then it puts everything in perspective. You know, you suddenly understand so much more. Your values then change, and you think, "Wow."
Yeah.
You know, and you know, so I think being a parent is the hardest job in the world, and it's worth it.
I think so. You're so right with that, because if you think about it, God is our parent, and He must bang his head sometimes, say, "What are you doing?" But I still love you. But you're going to have children, and you're going to have to support, love, and cherish those as well. So there's a bit of my work, you know, to carry on for yourself. You'll see just a fraction of what I got to put up with.
Exactly. And I get my son to call me Father, so he can learn it correctly.
All right.
No, but there you go. Anyway, it's been really nice to talk to you.
I want to insist that I talk to you again one time, because either that or I'm going to turn up at Margate if that's where you are, and just because you know, it's been illuminating for me. I love talking to you. You talk a language that I understand. You're down to earth. You're caring, sharing, and you believe in true karma, because whatever you've gone through, you come out a better person for it, and you take that energy and you share it with others in the essence of who you are, or your personality.
My grandfather once said to me when I was a child, the only thing that you have in this world is your word. If you can't keep your word, you have nothing.
That's true.
And that makes sense. So I try to be as honest as I can.
Yeah.
And the one thing I've noticed, when I have tried to lie to my wife, when she goes, "Where have you been?"
Yeah.
And I come home and say, "I don't know, I've been talking to
yes.
my dad." Yeah. And I give up now. Now I just tell her the truth. I said, "Well, you know."
You can't go wrong then, can you? All I can say is thank you so much for your time today. I hope you feel better soon, and you get some rest. And please let me come and chat to you one time again, because you sort of made my day, really. I don't care what happens after the rest of it, you know. I've got ministers' meetings tonight, but they're going to be exciting because I've chatted to you.
Well, I'll give you something. It's like, you think of us, I'm trying to organise some sports equipment for a disabled school and sort of part orphanage in Hungary.
Yep.
So I thought people would probably just send me like a few balls and bits and pieces, but now it turns out, oh, someone goes, I've got a snooker table.
All right.
Great, thanks. Yeah, cheers. And then someone says, I might have a pool table for you, a table. Now I'm thinking, fantastic. It's going to cost me a
fortune getting it out there, yeah.
You know, but you have to do it. And I think, well, if someone's come out of their way to send me those things, I will find a way to get it there. And that, to me, is my Christmas burden.
Yes. Well, maybe next time. You should say, give me some Amazon vouchers in your account, delivered straight to the door.
I never thought of that one. God, why did we talk earlier?
I'll catch you again.
If I don't speak before, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And the same for yourself. Keep working what you're doing.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
That was brilliant.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.